Hello, everyone, and welcome to Legal Aid's monthly Know Your Rights video. This month's topic is about how to be a savvy consumer, how to spot scams, and how to read through a contract and ask smart questions so you don't become a victim of fraud. My name is Kristen Naraki. I'm a paralegal here at Legal Aid in our Economic Justice Group, and I'm one of your speakers for today's discussion. Questions are encouraged. Although this video isn't live, you can direct your questions to our outreach email, outreach@lasclev.org, and we will do our best to get back to you in a timely manner. Before we begin, I would like to provide some general information about the Legal Aid Society. Legal Aid secures justice and resolves fundamental problems for people with low income across Northeast Ohio in Cuyahoga, Ashtabula, Geauga, Lake, and Lorain counties. We assist with a variety of problems related to housing, money, benefits, employment, family, generally households with income below 200% of the federal poverty guidelines are eligible. Anyone in need of assistance can contact us by phone or apply by phone by calling 1-888-317-3777, or you can also apply online at www.lasclev.org and then clicking apply for free legal help. With that, it is my pleasure to introduce you to attorney Eric Zell.
Thanks, Kristen. As Kristen mentioned, my name is Eric Zell. I am a supervising attorney in Legal Aid's Economic Justice Practice Group.
Thanks for that information. Let's jump into our first question. So we often hear about consumers being victims of scams. How can our viewers make sure that they're avoiding scams?
Yeah, it's something that affects people all across the country, and it's something that's super important to know the tips and tricks on how to avoid those situations. So the first thing I would say is certainly be aware of what company or person you're interacting with, what products are being offered to you or what services are being offered to you, and making sure they're real and legitimate. Do some internet research, do some asking around of friends and neighbors to make sure that the person or company you're talking to is a real person and offering a real product or service. And certainly the internet can be your friend here, and just perhaps Googling a person's name or a company's name could yield some results, so that if you see some people online complaining about those companies or businesses or people, that might not be the best place to go for your business.
Thank you. What advice do you have about reviewing a contract?
So a contract is the written agreement under which a party has obligations, and those obligations are spelled out in writing in that contract. It's important, obviously, to understand what is actually in the contract, what language is in the contract, what your obligations are under that contract, what the other person's obligations are under that contract. So the first tip, obviously, is to read it and try to make sure you understand it. And if it's something you don't understand, perhaps take it to someone who does understand it, or who can help you understand it. Any person or company that you're interacting with who is offering you a contract should allow you some time to review it. Anytime that somebody is pressuring you to sign a contract right then and there, that is not a good sign, and you should have an opportunity to understand what's in it, review it, and make sure that you understand what you're going to need to do going forward.
What should you do with the contract after you sign it? And what type of records should consumers keep?
Well, certainly keep it. You need to know what is in there, and if 6 months down the road you don't remember what's in it, you obviously can't know what's in it unless you see it. So certainly keep a copy of it. Keep a copy of any records that you exchange back and forth with the person you're contracting with. If this is a contract where you have to make payments, certainly keep records of your payments, keep receipts, keep anything that could be helpful down the road if you have to prove your case or argue your side of things. Your word is is often helpful, but it's very much supported by the written document. So if you have things in writing, particularly that's signed or sent to the other person or other company or other side, that can be worth its weight in gold.
Excellent. When you're buying a vehicle, what do consumers need to know?
Well, much like with respect to a written contract, you need to know what information is in the contract that you're going to sign. Oftentimes, car dealers will hide some information from you. They'll not necessarily tell you everything up front. So you certainly need to understand what your monthly obligations are going to be, what your monthly payment's going to be, or whether it's a bi-weekly payment or a weekly payment. You need to understand whether there are additional fees or services that are added. There are oftentimes service contracts or other sorts of obligations that are baked into the contract that aren't necessarily disclosed up front. So you want to make sure that you understand what those are going to be and that you are going to receive value for those things. And then lastly, you want to know what the final ultimate price of the vehicle is. So if you just sort of understand what the monthly payment's going to be and how many months you're going to be making those payments, that should be able to tell you. But oftentimes people come to us and they're confused or didn't fully understand how much the vehicle is going to actually cost them. So those are certainly pieces of information that you should obtain from reviewing the contract.
Thank you. Any advice on why one should be skeptical of low cost or free offers?
The old adage about if it's too good to be true, it probably is, often applies. The world isn't often giving out free things or low cost things that should cost more. Oftentimes people are scammed into agreeing to sign onto low or free items as a way to get them in the door, and then they're taken advantage of after that point. So if you're signing on to something for free, and then they obtain your credit card information, oftentimes people get charged down the road for additional things or additional costs or services that they didn't anticipate. So you definitely want to be careful about reading the fine print on what you're signing and what you're agreeing to. And again, remember that if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Usually. Any tips you can offer for keeping your personal information safe?
You certainly want to make sure you understand and know who you're sharing your information with. Oftentimes, you'll get text messages or emails, and you want to make sure that the person or company that's reaching out to you is who they say they are. So if you get an email from your bank, for example, you certainly want to make sure that the email is actually coming from your bank, and that if you respond to that email, that you're not providing personal information. Financial institutions, government entities like Social Security or IRS will never contact you via phone or email out of the blue to just ask for information. So if that's happening, you don't want to provide that information over the phone or online. You definitely want to make sure, again, that the email address that it's coming from or the phone number that it's coming from is one that you recognize. And if you have doubts, hang up the phone or call the number that you know is a correct number, and contact the company directly that way.
Great. This has been wonderful. I feel so much more savvy now. So we're at the end of our time today. Thank you, Eric, for sharing your expertise and experience with us. And thank you to everyone who watched today's discussion. Join us again next month for another relevant legal discussion.